Calaroga Shark Media.
Hello and welcome to Palace Intrigue. I am your host, Mark Francis. The National Portrait Gallery has quietly decided not to display a photograph of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, despite having acquired it earlier this year. The black and white image, taken by photographer Misan Harriman during the couple's appearance at the One Young World Summit in Manchester, marked one of their first public engagements after stepping back from royal duties and relocating to California. Although the portrait was added to the gallery's digital collection in May 2024 and made available on their website this month, a spokesperson for the gallery confirmed that there are currently no plans to physically display the photograph. Interestingly, while the Princess of Wales serves as the gallery's patron, it emphasized that she has no direct influence over which pieces are selected or exhibited. This decision comes in the wake of a report by the Mail on Sunday highlighting that the royal collection does not contain any photographs of Meghan, despite holding over 1 million items. Adding to the intrigue, last year there were whispers that the Princess of Wales may have been secretly relieved when a controversial portrait of her, painted by artist Paul Emsley, was quietly removed from public display. That report in The Hollywood Reporter continues to be an apparent thorn for Harry and Meghan. A senior Hollywood publicist told the Daily Mail, "Everyone industry-wide reads The Hollywood Reporter. It's really striking that WME did not stop this running. WME, normally you would think, would have been threatening and denying access to other stars. Was this done here?" Male showbiz writer Alison Boshoff also noted a stinging takedown of the couple on Hollywood industry site Puck, which declared Harry and Meghan's reported $100 million Netflix deal one of the worst of the peak TV period, and added that it was not expected to be renewed when it expires next year. A senior producer is also quoted as saying big Hollywood players never took the couple seriously. Royal commentator Kinsey Schofield said Harry is lonely in California, a not shocking opinion that probably everyone in the world but Meghan shares. Kinsey said, "Even without knowing what I know, you have to imagine that this is a young man that grew up in an all-boys school with a bunch of rambunctious guys, a lot of really deep, fun, silly friendships. They experienced something that normal people didn't experience, going away to school and waking up with your friends every day, then Christmases in a castle where every room is filled with your cousins. Today he'll wake up and celebrate a birthday with 4 people in the room, his children, his wife, and his mother-in-law." She later added, "I do believe he aches for the world he left behind." Zara Tindall, the king's niece and daughter of Princess Anne, showcased her typical blend of business savvy and competitive spirit at this month's Burley Horse Trials, where she not only competed but also launched a new line of winter coats for her sponsors, Musto and Fairfax and Favour. This dual role reflects Zara's adeptness at managing her commercial partnerships, with her ambassadorial roles for brands like Land Rover, Rolex and Musto reportedly earning her millions. Zara and her husband, Mike Tindall's combined financial success, with estimates of their wealth at around £30 million, has drawn attention from Buckingham Palace, which is reportedly exploring the idea of giving Zara a more formal royal role. Despite not holding a title, Zara has remained a prominent figure due to her sporting achievements and commercial ventures, which include Mike's podcast and his stint on I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. There's speculation that Zara and Mike could be called upon to step into more visible royal roles as the monarchy continues to slim down. With their relatable image, royal insiders believe the couple could be a PR asset for the royal family, filling the void left by Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's departure. However, taking on a more formal position would likely mean giving up their commercial interests, a difficult trade-off given their current success. For now, the Tindalls seem to enjoy their pick-and-mix approach to royal life, balancing glamorous appearances with a level of privacy. Whether they would be willing to give that up for a full-time royal role remains to be seen. A former royal aide told GB News, "There has to be an element of realism about this. It is hardly someone's fault if their mother or father is a close relative to the monarch and that attracts interest. The point I would make about Zara Tindall is that she is a successful woman on her own terms, and without that she would have attracted none of these arrangements. The same goes for Mike Tindall." In The Spectator, Philip Womack writes, "Britain needs more royals. Wouldn't it be jolly to have a few more dukes and earls?" According to Womack, if King Charles wants a slimmed-down, low-calorie royal family, we can thank Queen Victoria for bequeathing us the plus-size version. Responding in horror to the antics of her naughty uncles who raked about being unsuitable and having mistresses, she set herself and her 9 children to public duty and procreation. Go forth and multiply indeed. Of course, there was the abdication crisis, which rather culled the royal numbers. Even if there had been a second Duke of Windsor, it's unlikely he would have been enticed back, although a French-American royal would have been a jolly thing. Nevertheless, there remained a flock of Kents and Gloucesters on whom Queen Elizabeth II relied, and whose public efforts are largely unreported, though they have lasting effects. There are no public roles for the younger Kents and Gloucesters, who are essentially private citizens. Few would recognise them. Try asking a colleague who the Earls of St Andrew and Ulster are. I'll give you a tenner if they know. Closer to the King, Peter Phillips and Sarah Tyndall are subjected to press scrutiny and yet are not working members. It seems that the children of the York princesses will go the same way. A royal family consisting of the King, his wife, 2 siblings, the Princess Royal and the Duke of Edinburgh, and his eldest son and daughter-in-law seems less slimmed down and more anorexic. Maybe it's time for King Charles to cast a wider net. He could create some new duke and earldoms. George V's children were too young to perform public duties, so his cousin Prince Arthur of Connaught stepped in. Couldn't some of the more distant relies be co-opted? How glorious it would be to have a Duke of Albany hanging about like in King Lear. There could be earldoms for Beatrice and Eugenie's husbands, reflecting, like the Earl of Snowdon, a part of the United Kingdom which hasn't previously been used. Old titles could be dusted off. We could resuscitate the Earl of East Anglia. Lady Louise Windsor seems like a good egg. Or perhaps she might take on a more prominent role as Princess Louise of Edinburgh. And wouldn't it be fabulous to see Earl Tyndall on the balcony at Buck House? Palace Intrigue will be right back. If you were to drink a shot every time Prince Andrew, Duke of York, mentions he fought in the Falklands War in a very royal scandal, you'd be on your way to getting wasted by the end of the 3-part limited series. Prince Andrew's response in the Prime Video drama to his connection to Jeffrey Epstein and accusations made by Virginia Giuffre are informed by how he believes he should be treated as a royal family member with military experience. I don't need your permission to do an interview, thank you very much. I fought in the effing Falklands, Andrew yells in the first episode after his press secretary opposes talking to the press. I am the second effing son of the effing sovereign, in his argument seconds before. Sheen looked at archival footage of the 1982 conflict Andrew references often. The thing that encapsulated for me is that footage of him coming back from the Falklands, where he's in uniform. He comes off the ship onto the dockside, says Sheen. There are thousands and thousands of people cheering and shouting. He's got a rose in his mouth and he looks gorgeous. He's every inch the fairy tale prince, and he was absolute tabloid fodder. Everyone thought he was amazing. For a man who, on the outside, appears to have everything, the experience, my version of him anyway, of being a man whose own inner experiences are being denied things, are being restricted, are being kept out and not given what he feels he should have, that changed my perception of him in terms of making certain choices. When I first watched the interview, like everyone else, I think a big part of it was, how on earth did this happen? In terms of the home life, it is extraordinary. And that relationship having been, it seems, allegedly told that he had to divorce her by members higher up in the firm to then continue living together in that way. There are people I've spoken to and heard from who say, yes, that is the case. Other people say, no, that's nonsense. It's really hard to put together what is the actual picture. So obviously there was a lot of guesswork there, and ultimately you're trying to serve the story that has been written. The 2 biggest clashes with reality for him, the breaking through of the royal bubble and actually experiencing the reality of the real world, were the Falklands and the interview with Emily Maitlis. That's where the bubble burst. One is a high point for him and one is a low point for him. And there you have it. If you'd like to email us, our address is thepalaceintrigue@gmail.com. Please follow us on Spotify, Apple, or the app of your choice. And leave us a review or some stars if you're enjoying the show. I'm Mark Francis. My thanks to John McDermott. This is Palace Intrigue. Good times.